Ayin Thropos here with another exciting episode of You Don't Know. You don't know, huh? So don't act like you do, because then something bad might happen to you. And I'm talking to you. Thanks for joining me today for another interesting episode.
The Mandela Affect became a thing, or really got popular online. It kind of triggered me back into wanting to look at things, wanting to question stuff, because I don't know about you, man, but when I looked up the JFK assassination, there were 4 people in the car, not 6. And I will stick by that till the day I die. No, not 6.
It's the whole thing is very weird, and then even the Zapruder, films are like definitely bogus.
No.
So doctored.
But that's a whole nother thing, man.
And as far as the moon goes, we all know what's up with that. I mean, not everybody is on the same page, but come on, man. Yeah, we went to the moon in a sardine can with no protection from the Van Allen radiation belts. But let me just go ahead and interject this right quick, because people might have different ideas about the Mandela Effect, and I think that most of our listeners will know what it is. And I think that the what they're wanting us to believe, and what I think that actually most people believe, is that CERN, the big bad CERN, was collapsing timelines
and it
stuff
blended
like
ours
that, and
with
they caused the Mandela Effect.
Right?
Yes, and I refute that. I do not agree with that at all, because I go with the narrative that John Lamb Lash espouses, and of course he's a Gnostic, not a fake Gnostic, but a real Gnostic. But that the Mandela Effect is absolutely real, and that it was actually done by Sophia, which is the pleromic god, which is enmeshed with, that is the Earth, the actual Mother Earth.
Oh wow, you said Sophia, and I thought Sophia the AI for a second. That was a scary thought.
No, that's a takeoff. She's to divert from the real Sophia.
Okay.
That's why they have the same name. Yeah, there's a reason for that. And the whole narrative really of our existence and of this whole thing is these archontic beings, which are in some ways extra-dimensional or whatever, but we know from the ancients in their writings that they come in 2 forms, which is a neonatal form, a little little embryo-looking thing, which is the Greys, and then also a one that is like a walking lizard man.
Yeah,
reptilians. This has been known for thousands of years, and that they are at war, so to speak, with this the real God, which is the Mother Earth. Anyway, that's just a narrative. I don't have. I'm
gonna have to look more into that one. You'll have to send me that gentleman's name, because
I'll definitely
because that was Mandela Effect was fascinating for me. Just, I mean, the way people argue too, and the way that it would just be chalked up to false memories. You can't remember something in its entirety, so your brain starts putting things in places to make it make sense.
That's exactly what a friend of mine who's very smart told me, and I was like, man, come on. It was mirror on the wall. Who is the fairest of them all? It was Luke. I am your father.
God.
It's just, it's fascinating.
Yeah, I didn't like that one either.
Paul, there's these entities that were taking you, and I don't know if they were taking you in the body or taking you in the astral body or what the deal was, but did you ever perceive, or were you ever up on a certain type of craft flying through the air, like what we'd consider a UFO?
I have no recollection or memory of being in anything like that, but I have seen one. No worries. No worries.
No worries. Sorry about that. So you You have seen a UFO?
Yeah, I was still in elementary school. So third or fourth grade, there was an old daycare, and this was back in San Antonio. And there was a old daycare by old Albertsons, and they did a sleepover one night, and so all the kids, were staying there, and they one kid had brought a Super Nintendo, and so we're all playing games and hanging out, and that was my main focus, of Mario on the Super Nintendo. That was kick ass at that time, and we all got ice cream, and I know a group of us went outside, and it was dark, and one of the kids, it was the weirdest thing. He was like, "What is that?" And he like points up at the sky, and we all turn and look, and it's it's the most cliche thing in the world. It was absolutely fucking cliche. It was a black saucer with the little glow stars and moons that you put on your ceiling. That kind of like a greenish light. It had a band of green going around it, closer to the bottom, a little towards the sides, but it was like a thin little band, and it was just this silent black disc that just hovered over the daycare and then started to go into the trees into the nearest neighborhood. And a few of the kids got scared and ran inside. And by the time it had disappeared, I eventually went inside after it had disappeared. That was weird. That was really weird. And I didn't remember this for a long time because I remember wanting to play my Game Boy after that, and everybody was winding down, and I went to sleep. At some point during that night, I had looked over at the window, and there was a fucking cliche, man. There was the big eyes, and he was just at the window, and he was just watching me, and it was fucking frightening, and I don't remember anything after that.
Okay. Yes, obviously it's a traumatic experience. So it seems like the ship and the entity had singled you
I have
out
I have
amongst
no
the
idea.
children.
I have no clue. Um,
Were you the only one that was awake when you
yeah,
saw the entity?
I was
Okay.
trying to
So,
figure out how to
we've
play my
heard
Game
that
Boy without waking everybody else up.
yeah. Well, is it not possible that somehow the Game Boy that they were, sending some, waves or messages through the Game Boy itself, I don't know if
That
you've ever
is
thought
not.
about
No, I
that.
had never considered that actually.
Because these archons, they're the lords of the air, and they're the lords of electricity and
Hmm.
intelligence. You're obviously above average intelligence, if
Thank you.
not, are you possibly hyper
I
intelligent? I don't
overthink
know.
everything, so I don't know what that means.
Okay. Well, I kind of know the signs to look for. It takes one to know one. So and I haven't known you very
Well,
long.
I
So
appreciate that. Thank you.
fascinating, fascinating. Yeah, no problem.
Sorry about that.
Huh. No worries. It's interesting that one of the things that I investigate is Ghostlight Road, which is these glowing orbs, these
Hmm.
plasma balls. And I'm the first person that I know who has ever filmed the entities within these
Yeah,
things. And you couldn't see them while it was moving, but you took the stills, and guess what they look like? So cliche. I've got pictures
they
I can send you.
God.
Big head, big like wraparound glasses, and I'm like, what the fuck? And they're moving
See,
inside
that's
there.
curious. There's a great aunt of mine. At one point, she was visiting my mom, and it was an old house we used to live in. All the houses we lived in, like really weird shit has always happened. But in this particular, and this is the same house where I woke up in the sky. And so my aunt was sleeping in my room. I wasn't home at the time, and apparently she kept seeing blue orbs in my room, like all throughout the night, just flying around. I had never seen them in there before, but she, yeah, ranted and raved to my mom about it the next day. That was weird.
Wow. You know, Yeah, the glowing orb phenomena or plasma balls, whatever they call them, it's almost like the glue that holds everything together. It's the one phenomenon that seems to occur with
Hmm.
all other phenomena. It's like they're associated with Bigfoot. They're associated with everything,
That is an
And
interesting
so,
take. I actually hadn't looked at it like that. You're right. Any kind of fringe issue like that, those are there. It's like
yeah,
Watchers or something.
yeah. I mean, what the fuck are they doing? And there's all even a lack of correspondence with
Yeah.
like fairies. Are they
Or
like
are they the
fairies or
reason why
something?
people think
I
there
don't
are
know.
fairies?
Right. Or Bigfoot. There's I don't know. I do not know. You brought up earlier when we were before we got on tape. You said you mentioned the secret space
Hmm.
program. You also mentioned bird people. Almost makes you think of the blue avians, and that could be a whole
Yeah, I was
conversation in itself.
just alluding to what I is that still the mainstream idea? There's an unnamed group who talked about that for a while, and I've heard some very conflicting things. Um,
Well, I don't, and I don't want you to prompt you to say anything bad about this person. I, for one, am a detractor of the so-called experiencer or self-proclaimed experiencer known as Corey Good, and I don't, I've been known to not approve of his testimony. I don't
yeah,
want to
my whole
get into
thing is
that, but
I
he
don't know enough really to say one way or another. So
Well, it's interesting. William, I can't remember his name, but he's the guy that used to be on Ancient Aliens, and I think he still is. But he's more into the kind of spiritual
hmm.
aspect of this thing, and he would talk about the blue avians, and he just had a different take on it, a more, But absolutely, there are blue avians, and I don't know if this is a type of bird people that you're talking about, but there is a definite
Hmm.
reality to it, in my
Um,
opinion.
it's not anything I'm personally familiar with. No, so it's nothing I could really touch upon. But I don't know. One thing I really like to do is just look and see what everybody says. What do they see? What do they say? What do they claim? And then find someone else who says the same thing. Well, what's relevant? What's similar? And then find a third person, and then keep going down the line. And then you can really quickly start to weed out, like, okay, well, somebody just made that shit up. Like, they just wanted to sound cool as hell. That's
Right, right.
ridiculous. It does sound cool as hell, but it's ridiculous. Um, and
Yeah.
that's what I'd started to do. But I'm gonna be honest, I don't know a whole lot. I'm not very knowledgeable on that.
Okay. Well, I'm not either. And the only reason I asked you about it is because you said something about bird people. But I'm going to mention a name now, and I just want to kind of get some of the first thoughts that come to your head. Jay Essex.
Um, I don't know a whole lot about him. I've watched a few of his things, mainly because he alluded a lot to Alaska, and of course I have curiosity with that being here. Um, I appreciate the way he does things because I can see he has a kind of that I don't give a shit what you think demeanor, and
Mm-hmm.
that makes me listen to him a little bit more because if he's not, I don't know, if he doesn't care what you think, and then he's not just saying it to say it.
Right, and he doesn't seem to be, even though he might have some
Yeah.
services for sale or something like that, he doesn't seem to really be
No, no,
capitalizing off
no.
of it,
And from what
which
I
kind of,
understand, I may
yeah.
be wrong. I believe his site and things like that he shuts it down from time to time, or kind of steps away from time to time. I'm not.
Oh, yeah,
So
yeah,
if that's the
definitely. I've
case,
heard
like,
that.
he's not in it for the money, man. That's no,
No, I mean, it wouldn't
no,
be worth
no.
it, man, for $1 million to. Mhm. Now, but he knows, doesn't he know somebody
Yes,
that
he
you know?
does.
Who who is that?
My mom.
Yeah, right. I knew the answer. Wow. Yeah, that's fascinating.
Yeah, he's someone I would like to talk to, but that's just for general conversation. That's for my own, like, my own thirst for knowledge kind of thing, but
Hmm.
yeah, no, other than that, I really don't know too much about the man. I know my mom said very excellent
Right.
things, and from how she's detailed it, he's, very caring nature. He's probably one of the few people on this earth that actually gives a shit about it. So I know he
Hmm.
considers himself kind of a janitor caretaker for the world. um,
Well, let me tell you, I hold your mother's opinion in high regard, and so just by that alone, it makes me
yeah,
like Jay Essex more. And also, like you, I kind of appreciate his delivery and his kind of
yeah,
nonchalant, just matter of fact, just
yeah.
laying it
This
down. I
is
like that.
how it is, and if you don't like it, then move along. Cool. All right.
Right? He's definitely
Oh yeah,
experiencing something.
and I'm not going to argue that
I
at
mean that.
all. No. I mean,
Mhm.
didn't he? Didn't he have the FBI show up at his house one time because of his energy work with crystals, or something like
I
that? It was
I
a
wouldn't
story
be
I heard in
surprised.
one of his
Yeah,
things that it made me laugh. Um, but yeah,
and I'm sure he was nonplussed. He probably just took it.
yeah,
It's like every
pretty
other
much.
day.
Yeah, I think that's his general demeanor on life.
He Yeah, he probably like offered him tea or something like that.
Well, since you're here, yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
I I have I don't want you to talk about anything that's going to trigger you too hard, but I have a feeling that more there's some things
well,
that you want to discuss.
you had asked if I'd like been on a craft or anything like that, and again, still no, I have no memory or recollection of anything like that. Um, the closest thing, and this was 6 or 7 months ago, roughly half a year ago. Um, can you read in your dreams?
What
Can
about the
you read in your
dreams?
dreams? Are you able to?
Uh, oh, I've never even thought about that. So I guess I might have to say no because that's never
So
crossed my
there's
mind.
something again, I don't know a whole lot. So a lot of this is still I'm trying to figure things out. But there was an instance of a laboratory. There were metal tables, fucking rows of them, and there were cabinets. And I was watching, not from ground level, like standing. I was up above, like I was floating. And I know that because I could see what was in the containers. And these cabinets and shelves had these like steel containers. I mean, they were nice. They were glossy. They're shiny, but these steel containers, and written on it was Rhesus, not like. And this sticks out to me because it confused me because Rhesus is spelt Rhesus, like the rhesus monkey, right, or the rhesus gene, but this was spelt
Right.
Rhesys, and I kept looking at it. I had to look
Huh.
at others to make sure I was seeing it correctly, and it wasn't like a mar on the metal, like somebody had engraved it wrong or something. But that's how it was spelled on all of them. And inside these containers, these vats were like it was a like Nickelodeon green slime, like bright Nickelodeon green goo. And there were some bodies on some of the tables. There was one gentleman in particular, and he was wearing like an astronaut suit, a hazmat suit would probably be closer. It was that glass panel face, and it was white. It was all white, and it looked like a bucket head. And he may have had a backpack on. I don't remember, but there was a body on the table, and he was doing something to it. And I should have paid more attention. I didn't pay as much attention because I was focused on these containers. Um, but yeah, that was weird to say the least.
Well,
Um,
yeah,
And I
that
was trying to
sounds
look
pretty
that up
weird.
because I don't know what Rhesus is. Like I thought SYS like system, but I have no idea, and that's just speculation.
Do you know what blood type
I'm
you
O
have?
positive.
Okay, I'm O negative, And so, is that is O positive? That's is that a rhesus or non-rhesus or what is
I'm
that?
not sure. I actually don't know.
Okay, right. I, I'm not too sure either. Okay, fascinating.
But I have to take all of that with a grain of salt because, I guess because I don't know. Um,
Right, and then it sounds like you have your dream time is very powerful. It seems you've got
oh,
lucid dreaming that you
gosh, yeah.
remember.
I had an old middle school turn into the Hogwarts cafeteria with the floating candles and shit out of Harry Potter. And I got in trouble at
Uh huh.
school because I kept flying up there, and the teachers kept asking me to come down. I wouldn't listen to them. Flying dreams are my favorite. I used to have a
Uh
red
huh.
cat that would come teach me how to fly. That was cool.
Oh my goodness. Well, Paul, let me tell you. Let me ask you if this is okay. We have been recording for 45 minutes, and I think you might be going to work tonight. But can we take a 15-minute break and then come back and get some of the harrowing
Yeah,
details of?
actually, yeah, because there is something I would like to share. Has to do with when I left, because I'd been in Alaska previously, and I left Alaska and went back down to Texas, and I was living in
Uh
Corpus,
huh.
and I had an event happen there that I'm still trying to figure out, and I think you might find that interesting, if not just bizarre. But so yeah,
Wow.
it's 1 o'clock
Wow.
here. 15 minutes.
Yeah, 15 minutes, and
Okay,
I'll
cool.
call you back. And all right, Paul, we're sitting on the edge of our seats. This sounds like a very
I
fascinating.
appreciate the time, so thank you.
All right, man.
Okay.
We'll talk to you here in 15 minutes. All right, bye.